So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back, and with that, I have spent the last 6 months bugging my math teacher to explain concepts far inconceivable to a 7th grader. Yeah, she didn't explain them. Instead she said get off Microsoft Visual Studio 2022 Community Edition and go talk with women, which we all know ends in undesirable disastrous shenanigans playing out in catastrophic repercussions in the next class. So I actually did my own research. Ahem Mr. Batch, and I figured how to do that boring calculus ray marching lighting blah blah blah. Okay, but what actually is atmospheric scattering? What is mean Rayleigh scattering? Atmospheric scattering is the reason the sky looks blue, sunsets look orange, and why your ultra-realistic Unity project still looks like a Source Engine map from 2007. Basically, it's light bouncing around in the atmosphere, but not in a chill way. It's more like, photons get absolutely jumped by molecules and particles in the air. Rayleigh scattering is when tiny particles like gas molecules slap around shorter wavelengths of light, mostly blue and violet. But our eyes are like, nah, violet's too extra, so we mostly see blue. This is why the sky looks blue during the day. Me scattering is for the chunkier stuff, dust, smoke, humidity, microplastics from that one YouTuber's unboxing video etc. It doesn't care about wavelength, so it scatters all colors equally, and that's why fog, clouds, and God's rays have that milky white/gray vibe. So how do we simulate this? With inconceivably large amounts of math. With pain. With approximate single scattering equations shoved into shaders like they owe you money. Maybe some atrocious calculus. We simulate the density of air, the angle of the sun, and the way light should scatter in every direction to fake that beautiful gradient. You basically become the light, and then regret your life choices for the next 4 hours debugging inverted normals. Now to implement. Coding montage time. After many unexplainable disasters and crazy render graph issues, I bring to you a slightly broken HDRP full-screen custom pass shader. Yes, it technically works. Yes, It renders over everything like an insecure Instagram filter. And yes, if your camera's far plane isn't at the edge of the observable universe, some truly heinous artifacts happen. So naturally, I thought, I'll just blit to the depth texture like a normal person. But Unity said nah. That caused a catastrophic temporal rift in the render pipeline. Like, I'm talking, my sky shader started rendering behind the terrain. The sky went to hell. And my directional light started gaslighting me. After multiple energy drinks, 3 Google Docs full of angry notes, and a brief existential crisis staring at volumetric scattering math, I gave up. Instead of rendering over everything, now it looks like someone gave it some crack and it is now overdosing. By some miracle of God I got it to respect depth, but at the cost of several bizarre disasters and unexplainable catastrophes. Code looks like this. o.pos equals unity object to clip pos v.vertex. o.depth equals unity object to view pos v.vertex. Z. Base idea, I add proper depth output structure, created a fragment output struct that includes both color and depth outputs. Calculate atmosphere depth. In the fragment shader, I calculate the actual depth of the atmosphere intersection point by transforming it to clip space and getting the proper depth value. Compare depths correctly. The shader now compares the atmosphere depth with the scene depth and uses the closer one. Proper depth writing. The fragment shader now writes the correct depth value to SV_depth, ensuring the atmosphere renders at the correct depth relative to scene geometry. Better early exits, added proper depth values to early exit cases to prevent depth buffer corruption. It appears I have shot myself in the foot by using the high-definition render pipeline, which is known for being a pain in the lower back. It is not beginner-friendly, Jaden. If I ever do this again, I will use the universal render pipeline and just add it as post-processing. Note, while programming some debug things, I realized the countless allegations of Unity running everything on the main thread were true, so after I told the CPU what was going on, it killed itself and left me with the Unity crashed screen. Now, I'm not saying Unity is unoptimized. Actually no. I am saying that because when I asked it to render one sphere with the Raymarched atmospheric shader, it decided to perform a ritual sacrifice of my thread scheduler. And don't get me started on the profiler. Oh yeah bro, just open the profiler. I did. It said editor loop greater than render pipeline manager. Do render loop _ internal greater than your hopes and dreams. Now at this point, any sane person would optimize. Maybe lower the resolution, maybe cache some values. Not me. I doubled down. I added lighting, and attempted to implement a brutally cursed phase function approximation I found in a 2008 NVIDIA white paper written by a guy named Gregory with no GitHub profile. So now, after losing 3 days of progress, half my sanity, and possibly permanent damage to my motherboard, I present to you the slightly functional but aesthetically pleasing scuffed atmosphere shader. So what did we learn? Don't trust the Unity render graph. Custom passes are cool, until they're not. Raymarching is not for the weak. And most importantly, HDRP will betray you. Next time, we'll either 1. Move this whole mess to URP and pretend it's better. Or 2. Give up and throw my computer off a bridge and talk to women.